Hello, everyone. I'm David Robinson. I'm your Democratic candidate for South Carolina Congressional District 2. Today, I come to talk to you about our economy. As you can see behind me, you see a new development coming ahead of us. You can see this happening all across our state because South Carolina is the fastest growing state in the country. We have people moving in from all over the place because South Carolina is a great place to live. But with that, we have to make sure we have responsibility. We have to have a representative who represents everyone, not just those who are at the top. We have to make sure that we're working for our working and middle class, which is the backbone of our economy. Make sure they have everything that they need. We have to make sure we have entrepreneurship programs for our entrepreneurs who are trying to start business so they can succeed. We have to look out for our students and make sure they have all the education materials they need. We should not be destroying our Department of Education, but we should be enhancing our departments to make sure that our students have the proper tools they need in a global economy. Make sure our teachers are being well paid and the classrooms are smaller in size. We also have to make sure our students do not have a debt that they cannot pay back once they graduate from college. We also have to look out for the most vulnerable in our state, and that's our senior citizens. Don't you know they are trying to touch their Social Security that they worked for all their life? They are taking away their Medicaid. They are rising the cost of prescriptions. We need to do the reverse of that. We need a representative who's going to stand up for them. I am that person. I want to make sure that we're also looking out for our rural communities who are often left behind. You look at the infrastructure, you go talk to those who live in the rural communities, and no one seems to care about them, but I do. I see you. I want to make sure that you have all the things and all the tools that you need, the clean water, the clean air, everything that you need to make sure that you are succeeding there as well. We are not leaving anyone behind. Yes, I am a Democrat, and I do have democratic values, but that do not mean that I put the party over people. No, I put people over party. That means whether you're a Democrat, a Republican, independent, or a non-voter, I am here for you. I am standing up for you because I have an ear to listen. I want to hear what your concerns are, what your needs are. That's the only way I can represent you, no matter if you vote for me or not. So again, if you want to learn more about my campaign, the reason why I'm running, go to davidrobinsonforcongress.com and please donate. We need to bring some changes to Washington. We need to bring the checks and balances. We need to bring common sense. We need to bring love and empathy back into our people's house. Thank you again. Have yourself a great day.
Robinson. I'm your Democratic candidate for South Carolina Congressional District 2. Want to say thank you so much for joining me on this live this evening. Just wanted to talk a little bit about my campaign, mostly about just who I am and why I'm running. Many know that I ran last year. I ran against an incumbent, Joe Wilson. He was then in office for 23 years. And I thought that it was very important then to run for Congress, to do everything I can to bring some representation that matters into the People House. We have representation here in Congressional District 2, right here in South Carolina. So I ran and did a very good race. I put everything I can, being a person who's not a career politician, a person who, like I say, just like everyone else, a constituent who had enough. And decided to stand up and make a stand. And so here I am today to talk about those things. So again, thank you so much for being here this evening and to join in with me on this live stream. Again, I'm running. My name is David Robinson. For those who do not know, I'm a father, I'm a veteran, and a longtime South Carolinian. Being born and raised here in Columbia, South Carolina. I've been here all my life. I spent most of my years here, absent of the time when I was in the military, when I had to travel, of course, to deploy and things like that, military life. But other than that, I've been here all my life. And for many who do not know, I have been, like I say, a single parent. I come from the middle class. I come from the working class. So I know the ins and out of how it is to be to live in these communities. I came from the marginalized community, for instance. Worked my way since I was 16 years old, worked my way up into the middle class. I did construction, I did landscaping, manufacturing, you name it, I have done it. And so working my way up to be able to afford certain things on a different level. Again, being a single parent, I definitely understand, the ins and outs of how to, what it takes to provide for your family, to provide for your children, the concerns, the healthcare, you name it. I've been there. Education wise, I've been there. So being a single parent, I understand the issues that mothers go through when they are single parents. My mother was a single parent as my sister and myself. So I've seen her, the things that she have done as a mother to make sure me and my sister was provided for. Again, being a person who also went to college. I went to college to major in computer engineering. And with that, I learned a great deal about how much it costs to try to go to school, try to pursue your career, pursue your dreams and aspirations. I knew that I wanted to be a computer engineer since junior high school, going to just junior high school, going to a career day when I talked to one of the NASA representatives. Many who knows who we here in South Carolina know of Alcorn Middle School, but it was at Alcorn Middle School when I was a child. And I knew right then that's what I wanted to do. So I had my dreams, aspirations to do that. I did everything I can, grade wise, did very well for myself, and went to college for it. But again, because of the way the system is and the way that the economy is, I know that the cost was too much to bear. We had to take student loans to try to hope that you can get some type of Pell Grant and things like that just to go to school. Had to make a hard decision to stop school for a moment to take care of my family. Like I said, being a single parent, you have to make those choices, whether to continue to put food on the table or try to keep going after your dreams. So of course, it's what those decisions will be to make sure you're taking care of your family. So I did that by driving trucks. I ended up driving trucks. I stopped working. At one point, I was working for a hospital and started driving trucks. So I understand how it is to move this economy. I started learning, I've been moving the economy 1 mile at a time, bringing supplies. For instance, I was working for a company where I was delivering car engines and transmission to the BMW plants. I have been traveling all across. I did all 48 states in Canada, taking parts and you name it, groceries, you just name it. Just moving the economy, like I said, 1 mile at a time. So I've been there and I've done that as well. But, because I am an entrepreneur, a person who wanted to do more for my family, do more for my children, I started my own business in trucking. Got my own first truck, started doing very well at that, end up with a second truck, started doing well at that. So I've been doing good with my business when it came to trucking. So I do have the clear understanding of what it takes to try to start business in this economy. So with the SBA and also with the company that I was working with at the time, I was able to start my own business. And so I did very well, decided to move away from that business, close it down so I can join the U.S. Army to serve. And everybody know how it is when you first heard about the 9/11 attacks, where you was, you can remember all of that. I'm sure you can, because I do. And I remember over the years of the time when that happened, looking at how many soldiers that we were losing at a time, how much they needed people for these convoys. That's why I decided to close business as a trucker and join the U.S. Army so I can give them what I have the best, give this country what I have the best, and that is driving trucks. So again, started driving trucks for the U.S. Army. That was my job title. But nevertheless, I think I've driven trucks for the U.S. Army only once, and that was for a little short moment. But the rest of it, I was with a combat engineer unit where I end up doing working with them. So nevertheless, that's a little part about my history. Of course, everybody know that also being a father and a veteran. Like I said, a father first. I'm taking care and providing for my family. Everybody know the story about my son. Still as a father, fighting for him, fighting for missing Americans, but at the same time being a veteran, I'm fighting for veterans' rights. I still use VA services, so I understand when it comes to veterans relying on the service of the VA while we're not privatizing. Also, like I said, just being in this district, I have lived all my life in this district, so I know that one side of the district may be doing well when the other side is not. And you live in the same district because of the representative that you have is not concerned about all of his constituents, but some of the constituents. So I came today to make some big changes when it comes to that as well. Also, to for people to understand, I am a Democratic candidate, and I've been a Democrat all my life. I go to many events and tell people, look, I've been born a Democrat in some aspects. My mother is a Democrat, of course, grew up as a Democrat. And I can tell you as an adult, I have democratic values. And so I am a Democrat. I am a true Democrat. But what that means to me is the values of a Democrat, meaning that I care about where I come from. Care about the marginalized communities. I care about the middle and working class because I've been there. I care about that mother who trying to provide. I care about the social services. I worked for Palmetto Senior Care, which is part of Richland Moore Hospital back in the day, where we aid and help families to care for their elderly loved ones. I know the importance of Medicaid Medicare for these families to be able to keep their loved one in the home. So I'm a champion, a person that really believe in fighting for those spaces as well, for the vulnerable in our community. So definitely want to fight for Social Security. People worked hard for their Social Security. I know I have. I've been working since 15 years old. My first job was with the Urban League. I've been working since I was 7, but the job that I was able to get taxes taken was when I was 15 with the Urban League program that I worked under to start working at 15 years old. And that was a lot of Social Security taken out of my paychecks every week. And though we need every dime of it, that is part of what you pay for. So I'm a person that's going to fight for that. I'm going to fight for the minimum wage. I lived under minimum wage, so I understand the struggles of trying to provide, like I said earlier, when you have to live under minimum wage. So again, that is important. So just want to kind of point those things out. I am running not for the party. I'm running for the people is what I'm saying. That's the most important part of this whole run for Congress for me is for the people over party. And that doesn't mean that I have democratic values, but I understand when you want a representative, you want somebody who's representing you. When you go to the U.S. Congress, you do not raise your right hand to defend the Democratic Party. You're defending the people, which is the Constitution of the United States, against foreign domestic enemies. You raise your hand and you say, hey, look, I'm representing the people of Congressional District 2. That means you're representing the people of Congressional District 2, whether they're Democrat, Republican, Independent, non-voter, homeless, whatever the case may be. You're representing the people in your district. And we already know if you have a weak chain, you have a weak link in your district, the whole chain is weak. The whole chain is broken. So I want to bring some changes to this district. We have a representative who would only show up for maybe a photo op, or if he do show up for those who vote for him, he'll show up to those only who vote for him. He would not show up into the marginalized communities, don't show up into spaces where people didn't vote for him. So those are problematic when it comes to saying that you're a representative. That's not what being a representative and who's been in the spaces that you're in right now, who understand why you need this person to go up in the halls of Congress and fight on your behalf, not for the president, not for the party, those type of things. It's for you as a constituent. So again, I'm Dave Robinson, and that's what I am standing for. The other party is I have, again, for those who do not know, I have been put into this situation. And when I say situation, I have been there for many years, looking at television and yelling at the screen in the sense, and I know many of you probably do as well, social media, and you see some of these representatives doing things that you're like, hey, you know what? This is not right. This is not right. You want to do something about it, and the only tool that you have at the time is to go out and vote. I'm a strong voter, and I'm a voter, and I do voice my opinion. However, at the same time, I wasn't a person to say, hey, I'm going to throw my head in the ring, and I'm going to run and do what's right for this district or for the country. That strength came from the fact that I had a missing son. And you guys know the story. I'm not gonna go through the whole story, but the fact that I was able to get into spaces with my son that put me in the mindset to say, hey, you know what? I have to go out here and fight for all these missing Americans out here. The 600,000 that go missing every year, the 3,000 a day, the 2,000 which are children. Over here in South Carolina, we had over 500 some people went missing as of March this year. So you can imagine where the numbers at, and they always increase. So what I'm saying is we have people missing daily, and that put me in space where I need to do everything I can as a father, as a human being, as an advocate to fight for all the missing. So again, I'm a person who's proactive. I decided to do some legislation of my own. You know, I worked with the senators in Arizona to try to get something going, legislation going to provide some data and things that families need, law enforcement needs are. So I decided to do it myself, and I had crafted this legislation. It's called the Daniels Law. So many of you hear me talking about that already. I'm not in Congress yet. I'm not elected official yet, but that don't mean that I cannot start doing things now. And that's the reason why I crafted my first piece of legislation, which is called Daniels Law. It's also the proper name would be Please Help Find Missing Americans Act. And so I would be working with a senator this week to try to push that here in South Carolina for state law, and as well as those in Arizona. But also going to carry it with me to Congress to see if I can get it pushed in federally. So again, like I said, the person I am is to do things now. Don't wait till later. I'm not a person who put my name on change the name of a post office, for instance. You know, do some real work for the people. You know, fight for, like I said, our rights, fight for Medicaid, fight for Social Security, you know, all the stuff, the middle class, working class, which is the backbone of our economy. So those are things I'm emphasizing on and talking about a lot, because those things really matters to me. But again, this is a bipartisan situation when it comes to missing Americans. It's a bipartisan situation when we're losing our health care because of the cuts to Medicaid, to South Carolina who don't even have Medicaid expansions. Those type things, people cannot afford to take care of the senior citizens who cannot afford their medications, for instance. This is a bipartisan thing. It do not have a party label on it. So again, why would I be being a champion for a party when I should be the champion for the people? And that's what I am doing. Like I say again, people over party. Protecting Social Security and supporting our seniors is a must. Also, protecting our veterans to make sure we are receiving. I say we are receiving what we need. I promise to defend Social Security against and Medicaid against these tax cuts that's constantly badgering to try to dismantle our what we earn, the Social Security, dismantle the Medicare and the Medicaid, because senior citizens have earned these benefits. We all have earned these benefits. Make sure that I'm highlighting the fact that, you know, you guys can understand that both Democrats and Republicans are seniors. We have, you know, from across the board. So it doesn't have a party label on who they are, who you are when it comes to the things that matters to us all. You know, so of course, again, the same thing with the working and middle class is going to be a bipartisan thing. So of course, I advocate for tax relief for better wages. Like I said again earlier, I work under the minimum wages. You know, minimum wage hasn't been changed, I think, since the 80s. And here it is, 2025, and we still fighting over raising the minimum wage. You know, and that is crazy to still have that. So I'll still be talking loudly about that and try to fight for the minimum wage increase. Make sure that we have the tax relief for and the wages, better wages for people to live on, who work very hard every day in this country, and sometimes have to work 2 or 3 jobs just to make one paycheck, and that's not good. You know, we already had the rising cost of gas, the rent, the groceries, so everything's moving up except for pay, and that is not right. And there's some things that we have to fight for here in our country. I commit to fighting for families sustaining jobs, to keep their jobs, especially in the rural communities. I have talked to people down in the rural communities who are feeling left behind. And to be honest with you, in many occasions, they are left behind. You look at the infrastructure, like we had Hurricane Helene recently that devastated some of our areas down in Aiken, not just the rural area, but in Aiken, just all over South Carolina. And the first thing our leaders were saying, they're blaming the storm. It's the storm's fault that these power lines was torn down. It's the storm's fault that we had these flooding, we weren't prepared. You know, those type things. You cannot blame the flood. You got to blame the people. The people who's been in charge a long time ago and who haven't done anything since Hurricane Hugo. I remember Hurricane Hugo came, they were saying the same thing, blaming Hurricane Hugo. Why we didn't bury the power lines? Because the storm, we don't have the money or whatever the case, or it's going to cause the electricity to go up, these electric companies. Come on, people. So those kind of things that we got to get away from. These people who've been in office for a long time, giving you a whole bunch of empty promises for a long period of time. So that is important. Also, I believe in fighting for our rural communities when it comes to school. And we look at these schools that we have, like I say, Batesburg, Leesville, for instance. I went down there to talk to some of the constituents, and they talk about how they have to travel just to go to class because they have enough teachers. Teachers not getting paid, teachers not wanting to be there. And so students have to travel just to go to school. That's a problem. That's a problem. And here it is. We have people like Joe Wilson, who's been in office and they voted for Joe Wilson. They put him in office. And we have those situations. The federal dollars not being spent and utilized the correct way in these districts. They want to clean water. They want, we have this thing called opportunity zones, and people know about it. You need to look that up as well. Bipartisan type belief or opportunity zone, because definitely we need that in the rural communities to help our rural communities grow, bring businesses and things like that into our communities. But there is no guarantees for the people who actually live there in the community. So what's happening is people are getting pushed out of their own lands. People are not getting the jobs that these new industries and things that have been built, big as Scout Motors, for instance, not getting the jobs that these companies bringing into our state. Yes, they're bringing money into our state, bringing people into our states, but we have people in our state that have needs today. And so, again, the marginalized communities, the rural communities are getting left behind in those processes. They're building these homes that's not affordable, these apartments that's not affordable. Those kind of things would not be able to, sustain our rural communities. It's actually hurting our rural communities. So those kind of things, a lot more that I would like to make sure that I'm fighting for when I go into Congress. Also, want to make sure we're committing to our small businesses, promoting small businesses, entrepreneurship, and in our rural development. Small businesses is something like I said, I'm an entrepreneur, started my own small business. I understand the ins and outs and the bolts and things that goes along with fighting to put a business together and actually try to be successful. But we have to have these entrepreneur programs teaching our students and our children, have trade programs, things like that to have them ready to, when they want to pursue. Some people just don't want to go to college. They say, hey, look, I want to start a business. Give them the tools they need to be able to be successful with these businesses, because we know small businesses also help with our economy, along with our working and middle class, which is the backbone. And so we want to make sure we have rural development as well, people who have be able to start business there in their communities, to build their communities up. So those things are very important. And also, again, being a truck driver, starting my own, I understand those things. The high-speed internet in our rural communities is another issue. I see a lot of people there already now trying to, I think it's NAACP down in Aiken, helping communities with the high speed by giving them, I think it was Net Zero, one of the companies there, to help them get some internet in their homes and things like that. So we got to keep pushing for those to bring the rural community up to speed with the economy, with the industries, with the global economy, you name it. So those are things I'll be stressing and pressing as well. The Center for Resources for Training for the small business, like I said, the entrepreneurship, the young entrepreneurship here in South Carolina. Excuse me. Also, the infrastructure, public safety is a big must. We definitely have to make sure that we're fighting for our infrastructure. We look at our roads. I live on the side of town, the northeast side of town of Richland County. and we have one road, stretch road. People will probably laugh when I say this, but we had a stretch road, and this is no joke, that they've been working on since my daughter, she was in elementary school, and now she's an adult. She just turned 18 this year, and they just finished this one stretch of road, and I think the road is a little over 2 miles long. And we take our public roads, and our infrastructure is very needy. It caused us problems when they was working on that road because we have a lot of growth. Like I said, South Carolina is the fastest growing state in the country. Here in Columbia, South Carolina, we have a lot of new developments. And when I say new development, new housing communities coming in, even in the Northeast area where I'm at. So you can imagine the problem we had with all these people, all this travel on a road that wasn't completed. These roads that are not even fit for the high traffic that will be coming through there with all these new communities being built. The water system that should be provided to make sure we have these clean water, the power lines, the quality of life, schools. You bring in more communities, you have to have more schools. So all the infrastructure needs need to be enhanced. We need to make sure that we're actually investing in our future and doing it now. Don't do it like they did. Like I said, the power lines that should have been buried before these storms hit. We are projected to see more storms now with climate change. Don't wait till tragedy happen and say, "Oh, we could have, should have, would have," or blame the storm itself, like we see these people are doing now who've been in office for many years. No, we need to start putting these proper investments now. Planning ahead. You always look ahead, and that's one of the biggest things that we have to do in our state and also in our country. Connect with infrastructure, with our investment in public safety, economic growth, and national security. Those things are bipartisan problems, and we have to have those solutions to those as well. So, but I am committed to work with anyone, whether you're a Democrat, Republican, independent, as long as it helps the people here in South Carolina Congressional District 2, which is not a violation of your values, because we do have values here, values of the country, things that would not hurt our economy, would not hurt the people here in Congressional District 2, but actually help us reinforce. We have to reinforce this, because one thing that's happening is the fact that we have again people like Joe Wilson, who only is committed to his party. And as I can tell, I'm not sure he's even committed to his voters. And I don't want to hear just dump on Joe Wilson tonight, but what I'm saying is, it's nothing to show he's actually committed to his voters. He's committed to his party. I do know that. And he's committed to Donald Trump. That's it. I don't see the people in that plan or his actions and things like that, because if it was, he will come to these town hall. I just had a town hall, bipartisan town hall that I invited Mr. Wilson to. I did everything I can. His people gave me all kinds of excuses for him not to show, and he didn't show because he don't see the need, he don't see the importance of representing everyone. We had constituents there that wanted to hear from the congressman. I wanted to hear from my congressman, and he wasn't there. I always hear good stuff about you, and that's the whole point. You're not representing yourself, you're representing the people, so you should be there to hear the criticisms, should be there to hear the needs. You have to be there. You have to be in those spaces. The only way you can represent anyone if you know what they want. You got to hear it. You got to hear it. And sometimes it takes you to get a whipping a little bit to straighten up. You may be going off course, and people have to put you back on the right track. So we're just tired. We're tired of the political games that we're seeing by our Republican counterparts. You could say the games that have been played just to grab power, control, give people less freedoms, you name it, take away, make them more reliant on government by destroying some of the social programs, or I guess for most they want to privatize things. So you've been more prone to say, hey, look, I'm going to go to the private company to get the needs that I have, when the government itself have to look out for the welfare of its people. So again, this is not sound bites. It's something about me, the way I feel, the way I think. And like I said, I'm only running for only one reason, and that is the people that I want to represent. It's not for my party, though. Again, I keep saying over and over again, I am a Democrat. I have democratic values, and to explain those democratic values is to I care about the working and middle class. I care about the marginalized communities. I care about the entrepreneurs. I have more care about those who have the need to succeed. You know, we don't need to rescue or continue to give welfare to those who are at the top 10% of the population. They can take care of themselves. As a matter of fact, they should be able to take care what they should be taking care of. Hey, look, we pay taxes, for instance. They should be paying taxes. You know, and we can hustle and muscle our way to pay taxes to contribute to our economy. They should be able to do it as well. They can push a button while they're sailing on their yacht or sitting on their gold toilets and say, "Hey, look, I tell their person, whoever, yeah, I need to pay my taxes. Go ahead and file my taxes." So I want to make sure everybody doing their part when it comes to helping our economy grow and paying down our deficit and things like that. So again, I'm Dave Robinson. Just wanted to do this live stream. I'm about to jump off now. But again, go to DaveRobinsonForCongress.com. Oh yeah, before I leave, I want to just share one more thing. And this is very important. And this is my website. So just want to share this real quick with everyone. DaveRobinsonForCongress.com. Please go to DaveRobinsonForCongress.com. And this button right here is really important. Donate. I have a really need to make sure that this campaign is very successful this time. As you know, before I ran, last time I ran, it's hard. It's hard running a campaign when you have little resources. You know, every campaign needs resources. Let me make this bigger. Every campaign needs resources. You cannot get out there to get out flyers. You can't get out there to travel on. I have 5 districts. I mean, 5 counties in my district, and you know, to travel out there to get the word out is one of the biggest handicaps I had before. And the need of donations is very strong when you're running for Congress. And so, if you guys can, please go to DaveRobinsonForCongress.com and donate today. So I can go out there and do the work. I need to get out there and do the work and spread the word. Hey, look, I'm your interest. I come from if you come from the marginalized communities, I've been there. If you come from the working and middle class, I've been there. You have been a single parent, or you are currently a single mother or single father, I've been there. You know, if you went to college and you struggling to pay college debts, I've been there. You know, if you want to start business and you have started business but the business is struggling because of the economy, I've been there. You know, without the lack of support and things like that, I've been there. So if you are a patriot and you say, hey, look, I'm putting my life on the line for the country, I've been there. If you suffer injuries that, you know, while you're out in war and you are now a disabled veteran, I've been there. I'm a disabled veteran who decided to run for office. So again, if you have a missing loved one out there and you don't know what to do and you need some legislation that's going to help you find your missing loved one, I've been there and I'm doing that. So again, this campaign is all about the people. It's not about the party. It's not about anything else. I have no other agenda but to be there for the people, to just be the person for the people. And that's what's most important to me. So again, I'm just tired of, just probably like you, tired of some of these politicians who've been in office for many, many, many years. And we talk about the same thing today, you know. And so again, DaveRobinsonForCongress.com, donate 5, 10, whatever you can to help me win, to get Joe Wilson out of there, to move into the next chapter, and you know, move this district forward. Also, my goal is being a veteran. My mind is always there to defend and protect this Constitution of the United States from foreign domestic enemies. And that means a lot to me. Like I told you before, I raised my right hand to serve this country. It didn't stop when I retired from the military. It's a life oath. It's something that when people raise their right hand, it's not one time they say, well, you're doing this only while you're serving. No, this is a life oath. And so you got to take that oath seriously. I'm going to do it again when I win, to take it seriously. So it means a lot to me to say, look, I am defending our country from foreign domestic enemies. And that means a lot to me. And I have to continue to do so. So again, thanks so much for, again, being a part of this live. Take care of yourself and have a good night.